Pleased to be joined by Hong Kong's first ever UFC fighter, Sasha Palatnikov. Sasha, thank you for joining me, mate. You've been busy interviewing today, as I understand it. How exciting is this for you? It's a massive step in your career.
Oh man, thanks for giving me this opportunity. Man, I don't think it's set in yet. I'm still kind of just going through the motions. A lot of stuff has just entered my plate the last few days, and it's just been kind of a whirlwind. But I'm just super excited for the fight. I don't think it's really going to count until I get in the ring and get the W at the end of the day. So I'm just kind of going through these motions, appreciating all the all the interviews and everything that comes along with it, and yeah, let's go get that W on the 21st.
Yeah, for those who don't know, you'll be fighting UFC 255. You're fighting Louis Cosce. Is that how you pronounce his surname properly?
I'm not sure. I need to find out myself. Sounds about right.
He's 7-0. You know, he's a contender series guy. How much do you know about him? Have you had a chance to check him out? What do you make of him?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched what he's got online, and I mean, he's made quick work of the fights he's had. But if you look a little bit deeper, I would say the competition that he's fought is not at a very significant level. He's one of those guys that I believe his record got built specifically so he could get this kind of opportunity. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he's probably working just as hard. He's motivated to get this W as well. And I mean, he looks like a hard hitter, strong, shorter guy. But I'm excited. These are the and this will be my 8th professional fight. So I've never really gotten to fight anyone shorter than me. I've fought people taller than me, longer than me. So now this is actually something that I'm looking forward to fight someone who is shorter than me, where I have the advantage with my reach and height. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we're both coming in as debuts. Mine's obviously short notice. He won the Contender Series. He's had a lot more to think about getting ready for this moment, whereas I'm coming off of my last win. So I'm kind of just running off of momentum, and I'm ready just to keep that ball rolling.
I feel like Ruby Sport are on a bit of a roll right now. They just got Casey O'Neill into the UFC, who kind of went the same route in a way through the UAE Warriors. How important have they been in making this happen? Did you feel like this was on the cards at some point? Was there confidence that this was going to happen, or was it a bit of a surprise?
It was funny because I moved. It's been literally 11 months almost to the day that I moved from Hong Kong to Las Vegas, and that was coming off of a loss at UAE Warriors, and it was a 5 days notice fight against a current UFC fighter, and I'd already scheduled a knee surgery in Las Vegas. So I took that fight hoping it was kind of a high risk move, but it didn't work out in my favor. But at the same time, I knew I had to repair my knee. I had to make sure that I was getting my body right to get in that cage. And when COVID hit, I really didn't know what 2020 had in store for me. I mean, I didn't even think I was going to be fighting this year, to be honest with you, the way that things were looking. And then obviously I got back on my recovery, got back into training, and things started to kind of open up a little bit. And UA Warriors reached out to me and were like, "Hey, would you like to take this fight?" The one that I just had. And I actually was like surprised, but at the same time super excited. And I jumped on that as soon as possible. Felt incredible going into that fight. I was originally matched up with Omar Hussein, who is a Ruby Sports and Entertainment. He's represented by them. So I went in there as the B-side guy that was coming in to hopefully be an easy fight for their guy. But he pulled out with COVID, and I got a late replacement. And then I got him out of the first round quickly. And then from there, I'm pretty sure Daniel Rubenstein thought, hey, maybe this guy, maybe he should be signed with us. Maybe we can take his career forward. And we had a lot of conversation in Dubai. And he's a nice guy. I really like him. And we have some mutual friends when I was training out in Phuket at Tiger. So he represents a couple of the Russians and Tiger guys out there. So it all kind of just seemed to come together at the right time. There was like some inkling between either Ruby and Iridium. I'd been discussing with them, even MTK MMA as well. I'd had quite a few management companies, talking to me. But when I came back to Vegas, I sat down with my coaches and a couple of people and spoke to them, some guys that are also represented by them, and wanted to get their thoughts and how their experiences with them have been. And long story short, Ruby hit me up and he's like, hey, you want to sign? You want to get managed? And I was like, let's do it. Let's get this done. So I signed with him, and I think it was 13 days later I got the UFC call up. So if there's ever a manager in the game that's able to be as efficient as anyone, it's Daniel Rubenstein. So
So how big an opportunity is this for you? Is it one and done? Do you have how many fights do you have to make sure that this is you now, that you secure this spot in the UFC?
well, it's a multi-fight contract, so I'm signed into, I believe, a 4-fight contract. I believe I can potentially negotiate after 2 fights, but if the UFC is not pleased with me, they can cut me at any time. So there's always that pressure. You got to go out there and perform, but at the same time, I'm just happy to be. I'm here. I'm in the USADA testing pool. I signed up for that today. Like, I'm officially in the UFC. Like I said, I don't think it's really hit me yet, but getting all the perks of being at the PI and doing things like this, it's still kind of like settling in, but at the same time, I'm just feeling super blessed and super lucky to just have this opportunity. Sometimes it's being in the right place, the right time, right opportunity. And fortunately for me, it was my calling, and no better place to do it than here in Las Vegas, representing Hong Kong.
So you were born in Hong Kong, right? How significant does that feel to you, that the history books will always say this, they can't take that away from you, you just got to make it into the octagon, but first ever UFC fighter from Hong Kong. That's a lovely bit of history right there. How important is that to you?
Absolutely huge, man. Like I've represented Hong Kong in rugby. I played basketball for Hong Kong and in the junior age groups, and I've always represented Hong Kong. That's my home. And people say, "Where you're from?" I'm from Hong Kong, and they just like look at me like I'm crazy. But since getting into mixed martial arts, and I just knew that going to the UFC and putting Hong Kong on the map. I mean, Bruce Lee originated in Hong Kong. MMA all started here. I started my martial arts journey in Hong Kong. I was 5 years old. So it all just came full circle. And the fact that I can make history and put that map, put that flag on the map in the UFC cage it's a real big honor. And I just hope, it motivates other people in Hong Kong. And it doesn't matter if I don't have Chinese blood or I do. I'm a Hong Kong person. If you know the history of Hong Kong, it doesn't matter. And I just want people to understand, like, I want to put Hong Kong on the spotlight. People look like, what? You're from Hong Kong? That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, so if they just do a little bit of research, find out what Hong Kong's about, maybe ask me a couple questions, I'll be like, oh, wow, that's amazing. So Hong Kong, it's not known for producing tons of athletes, but don't get me wrong. We've had phenomenal athletes come out of Hong Kong throughout the years. And I'm just glad that I could go to the highest level and perform and show that, hey, Hong Kong has some talent.
What's the scene like over there? I did a episode of Eat, Pray, Fight a while back, a few years now, with Matt Polino, looking into the
Matt,
wrestling scene there.
Matt's actually my roommate right now. He's here.
Right.
He's here with me here in Vegas.
Well, you can
That's
tell him I
nice.
say hi.
Will do.
Yeah. So we did a piece about wrestling over there. He was trying to make
Mm-hmm.
wrestling happen a little bit, which was
Mm-hmm.
it's not really famous in Hong Kong, the wrestling scene there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so important, if we're going to have a really good MMA scene there, we need good wrestling, right? Everybody
Yeah.
knows all about Bruce Lee and the striking in the history of Hong Kong. So just paint me a little picture of what the MMA scene is like right now in Hong Kong.
The scene in Hong Kong, it's a small scene. It's not a big scene, that's for sure. But you know, there's a bunch of smaller guys, lighter weight guys. There are definitely some potential guys that could come out there. A former training partner of mine and a teammate of mine, Andy Tang. He's a phenomenal prospect. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make his Asia Contender Series debut at some point. He's someone to definitely look out for and support. I love Andy. He's a great guy. Ramona Pasquale as well. She's someone that I've known for a long time. We've been like on this journey together, both of us representing Hong Kong on the male and female stage in MMA. So we were training together at Epic with Alberto Mina like back in the day. So we've been consistently pushing, and I know she's going to get her opportunity as well. And there's a couple other guys as well. Bernard Fong and a couple up and comers, couple guys in Hong Kong that are born and raised, and they just full time training and it's just one of those things. Hong Kong's kind of separated. It's hard to get fights. There's not many shows going on in the area, and especially now, it's hard to even get an opportunity to fight unless you have management. So hopefully once this stuff clears up a little bit and things start to open up, some of those guys will start to come out and start making a name for themselves on the Asian MMA scene.
How is it difficult not to start dreaming? Like, how big are the goals here? You're in now, you know, and you told me you got that multi-fight deal. So what is the biggest goal? You know, do you have some dream fights in mind? Do you know how far you think you can go?
You know, there's no limit here. I'm going for the belt. That's it. Everyone can get it in the 170-pound division. You know, I know this is going to be my first fight, and it's on 2 weeks notice, but I deep down I know that, you know, in a couple of years from now I'll be knocking on that door in the top 10, top 15, and then hopefully be going for those contender spots. But you know, this has been something that has been in the works for the last 10 years, ups and downs throughout my life. I've had all kinds of crazy things happen, but everything is starting to come exactly how I had planned it in the last few years. And as long as I'm healthy, as long as I'm able to continue doing what I'm doing, you know, we're going to be there. We're going to be there.